All right, so we have some breaking news as the number 2 overall pick will not even make it through his second season. I mean, as a whole, hasn't played a lot, 20 games in the NFL. So this could be it for him, actually, which is kind of crazy to think. He has been benched for Mike White. That's what we know now. Mike White is the starter, so it's a fascinating situation. Let's talk about the situation and what it means. I think that on one hand, the obvious thought process that I have is, it does probably help them win football games, which, if that's the decision, then it's probably the right decision, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you are trying to win football games now. You are a team that feels like you're competitive now. So getting a guy like Mike White, who might be an upgrade as of right now, is probably the correct decision. Now, again, we all know the throws that Zach Wilson can make. It just feels like he's kind of a weird fit for the offense, and the reality is, if you're missing most throws, that's great that you can make these incredible, off-balance, off-platform throws. The reality is they're not using those types of plays, so it doesn't matter. At least I'm sure that's the way the Jets view it. So I guess let's take it from several perspectives, because one thing I thought of, I had said, I was on record, I would give Zach Wilson one more week. Let him play against the Bears next week, which is a favorable matchup for the Jets, certainly. A bad defense you're going up against. See if he can continue to, do that, because it is worth mentioning, Zach Wilson is 5-2 this year. The 2 losses were against the Patriots. They were because of him. It's not like they were winning because of him, those 5 wins, but at least he was, doing enough to win, I think would be fair to say. Just enough to win with the good talent around him in those other games. I just think that, what the way they view it, though, is that we don't want to give him another chance to play the Bears, because the one way the Jets probably lose that game is if Zach Wilson goes in there and just completely stinks. So they'd rather have a guy who they probably feel has a lesser chance of doing that, which is, I think it's understandable, and I think it's the right move. I think that at the end of the day, if you're trying to be competitive, put the best player in. You just have to. And I do wonder, in the locker room, I'm sure that it at least feels reasonable to believe that potentially guys wanted Mike White in there, because Mike White did outperform Zach Wilson last season. And also, again, I don't know how much truth there is to it, but the Zach Wilson comment of saying he didn't think the offense let his team down, again, from what I understand from Jets fans, they've been saying they think that Wilson just doesn't like that reporter, and it was kind of just him brushing off the reporter. But either way, I could see guys in the locker room being upset about it. So I don't know exactly, but it's it's a fascinating situation from that perspective. I also think that with the Jets, there's several things at play. I mean, look, I guess the main way you win a Super Bowl in today's NFL is you're paying a quarterback nothing, or you get superstar quarterback talent. And sometimes it's both, right? With Patrick Mahomes on a rookie contract winning a Super Bowl, right? That's the ideal situation. And it felt like, man, if Zach Wilson can live up to the potential that we saw in college, which there's going to be a lot of revisionist history now about, all that, but I thought he was great in college. I was totally on a Zach Wilson train. Maybe I'm stupid, but I totally thought that he was going to be great. There were some people who, did not, and so credit to them for seeing what I didn't. But, as a whole, kind of the main point is, I think I like the decision to draft him because it's a promising decision to get a star player. You have a chance at getting someone with high upside. It just so far has not worked out. And probably won't, given the fact that he's been benched. I'm interested in where this goes for a few reasons. I'm interested in seeing what the Jets do from here. The Jets still are sort of a fringe playoff team. I don't know if this changes them too much. I do think I heard a lot of people saying if Zach Wilson was just bad, the Jets win the game against the Patriots. I just don't believe that. I think he was just bad against the Patriots. I think that there was no help, and he also made some mistakes on top of it. I didn't think that was the worst. I've seen worse quarterback play from Zach Wilson this season than I saw from that game in particular. That was just the game I think the most was made of it. That's how I viewed it. That being said, I'm still totally fine with making this decision. I think Mike White should probably run this offense better, and certainly is a better fit for this offense, if nothing else. And we've seen him have good performances with the Jets. So the question is now, I think, what's the ceiling with this Jets team? Because obviously Zach Wilson has the higher ceiling. It just seems unlikely that he's ever going to get there. On paper, you can fantasize Zach Wilson being this superstar quarterback, right? You can fantasize him putting it all together because we saw flashes of it in college, although I think it's a safe bet to say it's probably not going to happen, so let's just go with Mike White. I am interested, though, in does this just mean that they're a good defensive team who hopes they can do enough on offense? Those teams typically do not do very well come, late in the season. I think that a lot of times you do get the occasional San Francisco 49ers there, and maybe that's the model, try to beat the 49ers, but it feels like a lot of times it's a team like the Colts who do well, get to the playoffs, or get close to the playoffs that way, but then kind of falter a little bit. Typically, you do need to have an effective passing game. Maybe Mike White could do that, because again, he's a young player. He can get better too. We talk about this ceiling. I mean, we don't know his ceiling yet. We don't. So I'm fascinated in this decision from that aspect. I think that there is definitely some intrigue in what Mike White could do just from that side of things. I'm also interested in, what if Mike White comes in and plays poorly? That's definitely that's a possibility. Again, Mike White's career is an interesting one. So the guy was drafted a few years ago, but we only have seen him play in one season. That was last year with the Jets. He played in 4 games when Zach Wilson got hurt, and he looked good in 2 of them, looked bad in 2 of them. Ironically, against, one of them was against the Patriots, where he came in and did not play very well. But then he came in, he had that 400-yard passing day against the Bengals on 45 attempts. That's kind of that's the game, right? That's the one you go back and say, oh, right, remember that game? That was incredible what he was able to do. But that's really his one flash in the pan, was that one game. He has not looked great in the other 3 games that we've seen him play. In fact, his touchdown-interception ratio in those games is 2 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. He had a bad no touchdown to 4 interception game against Buffalo where they got smoked. He also had a game against the Colts that they lost, and he only had 11 attempts in that. He went 7 for 11. So looked good in those 7 passing attempts, had 95 yards, but still, it was just a small sample size. So I mean, it's a small sample size as a whole, and it kind of comes down to what is Mike White doing in practice, right? Do you like what he can do there? It's definitely interesting, and the reality is it does kind of go back to that old saying of if you have multiple quarterbacks, you have none. Anytime there's a quarterback controversy, it's a bad thing. It just is. You want to make sure you have a guy, but just because you want to have a guy doesn't mean that you should just hang on to Zach Wilson, because just because you want him to be successful, it's like, yes, the best way to win a Super Bowl is to have a superstar quarterback. So, yes, you can say, oh, maybe we should keep Zach Wilson then because that's the best way to win a Super Bowl. But if you don't believe he's going to be a superstar quarterback, then that's not helping you get to where you need to be. And, again, do the Jets win if Mike White is in the game last week? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. I mean, again, only 3 points more would have been enough, so there you have that opportunity. But I do think this gives the Jets a slightly better chance to win. The last thing I'm interested in, though, is what does this mean for Zach Wilson? I think he's done with the Jets. I think that they wouldn't make this move if they weren't ready to just completely move off of him. Maybe they'll keep him around as sort of like a backup, hope he can grow and turn into that. I feel like some team is going to take a flyer on him, right? Some team that maybe like the Saints would actually be a good team too. They need a quarterback, but they don't have a good draft pick, so maybe spend like a 3rd-round pick or something to this offseason to take a flyer on him. It might take more than that, might take less than that. I don't know. It's always hard to figure out exactly. I wouldn't have thought Kadarius Toney would have gotten a 3rd-round pick, and he got a 3rd and a 5th. So who knows of this stuff? But I think someone will take a flyer on him, get some draft capital, and see how that goes. Maybe try to put him in a different offense and see if that works. And maybe it's a situation where like you go into the offseason, you draft a quarterback in like round 4, and then trade a 3rd-round pick for Zach Wilson. Hope one of those 2 flyers works out if you don't have a 1st-round pick kind of thing. I could see something like that happening. But yeah. Interesting stuff. So far, not looking great for, I was interested in seeing the Zach Wilson versus Justin Fields thing heading into the season of who is going to be better. Seems like slight edge to Justin Fields. I think he's clearly been the guy so far. Tough stuff for Zach Wilson. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.